And we are live, people. Big up the community, big up the chat first and foremost. It's almost New Year's, guys. The fireworks are going off. Everyone is celebrating, and the Manchester United fan base we're all in a volcano right now. We're all in a volcano, and the volcano is about to erupt. I see what's going on online. I can see the conversations, people. The heat is on. The pressure is building. I know straight off the bat, guys, if you are somebody who still supports the manager, still thinks he's the guy, still thinks he's good enough, don't want him to be changed, all of these things, in the outside world, they will call you an Amorim in guy, in the basic language. If you have taken that position, I don't think you're going to be too happy with maybe the discourse in this show, because I think the tide is slowly changing. I think the tide is slowly, yeah, it's moving. It's moving. And I feel like more people are starting to call the manager out. So this show might be uncomfortable listening for those who are strongly behind the manager. Just saying it out loud, because on today's show, today's just your normal news show. So we're going to go through some of the things that have got people in a little twist. What has got people so frustrated? Apart from the result, and a lot of people are talking about the result, and I said that I'm not entertaining anything but a Manchester United win. And we drew. Don't forget, guys, we didn't lose. Just in case, I know it feels like a loss and the world is, all falling apart apparently. But we didn't lose. So whatever that means, if that means anything to you, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're like, yeah, we didn't lose, but that's not the point. But just saying, just reminding you guys, we didn't lose. So perspective is key, but the community, the Man United fans online everywhere, questions are asked about Xerxes, about the substitutions, about the tactics, about why he went back to the back five, all of these things. We're going to talk about it, people. We're going to talk about it. We are going to react to his post-match press conference, which everybody is talking about. People wanted to know the answers, guys, to the Xerxes situation. They wanted to know the answers. So he was asked certain questions, and the answers he gave were very, very intriguing. So we, as a community, will go through them. We'll discuss them as we do. We try to understand this manager. And I think some of the things he says, rightfully or wrongfully, we're going to talk about it, I think vindicates my position with regards to the manager and what I've been saying all along, and why I don't think, in my opinion, he is the right guy. So a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Ruben on the absences. He talks about the absences. He talks about United struggling. He talks about us having a lack of depth. We're going to talk about that, because that is true. We need to understand that we don't have a big squad. But we also need to understand largely that was because of him and Man United. They decided for us not to have a large squad. They decided to sell certain players. So whatever, it's hard to make excuses for a team, a club, a manager that makes the decisions themselves. But he talks about getting players back, which we need. Our form. He talks about the youth. He does address subbing Xerxes as well, guys. So we will get through that as well. Balancing the midfield. He talks about the next game. So there's enough quotes for us to munch on. There's enough quotes for us to have a little chat about. Martinez also spoke on the Wolves game. So we'll see what Martinez has to say. But this is the important thing. We also have the legends, and we've spoken about the legends, I think, but we can speak more about the legends, and you can tell me about how the legends affect Man United Football Club, how their opinions still hold weight, how they influence maybe a bit too much, maybe too little, maybe they need more of a say. I don't know, but we could talk all day about how the legends such as Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Nicky Butt, Roy Keane, and how they impact the club. But Gary Neville has come out. Gary Neville, of course, has given his verdict on the game, and Xerxes going off. So when Nicky Butt has also come out and said, He believes the manager should go. And, not everybody listens to Nicky Butt. You listen to whoever you want to listen to, guys. I can't tell you who to listen to. But the tide is starting to turn. The key is starting to turn, guys. That's basically the bigger picture. Anyway, big up the chat. Big up the chat. We're going to get into the quotes now. Anyway, what's Niche fan saying? Amorim is trolling everyone. He said we can win any game. Weeks later, he's saying it's going to take lots of money and lots of time. He wants out with his compensation, says Niche fan. Big up Niche fan. Turkish in the building. Big up Turkish. Good to see you, Niche. He knows the money isn't there at our club. He was conned just as much as we were by Sir Jim. Niche fan, one of the questions I kept asking you guys over the past few weeks is where the specialist, world-class wing back, left wing back, these positions that don't even exist because no one plays these positions really. Only a few selective teams play these positions. Where are these players? Like flipping Mbumo cost us 65, 70 million pounds. Sesko cost us, for this rebuild, it's gonna cost us money. And if we're not qualifying in Champions Leagues and we're not doing what we need to be doing on the field to get our money up, then where's this money gonna come from? Like when you just sit back for a second and look at things objectively, you just realize this guy is not going to be able to maintain this silly formation, bro. You need to play the formation that suits the players that you have because there's no certainty you're going to get Hakimi right wing back. Like, you're lucky that you have an Ahmad. I keep telling you guys, we're lucky that we have Ahmad, who's happy to play there because he's a wide forward, guys. Big up T Kizzle in the bizzle. I hope you're doing well, TK. You always seem to be doing something fun. Big up yourself, my guy. Niche fan says this club's a complete mess. Only Elon Musk or someone willing to spend billions can save it. No thanks. Imagine Elon Musk. Elon Musk will change all the players into robots. Yeah, man. Big up the chat, man. What are we thinking when the window opens tomorrow? Are we making moves? Let me know, guys. Answer TK's question. What we saying? I do not believe United are going to be doing much in the January window at all. I think I've made that point, but I'm open to be surprised. Guys, but I very much doubt it. But that's a conversation. That's definitely a conversation. Niche fans talking about boycotting everything. Man, I spent £90 on a shirt that I've probably worn about 7 times. Niche fan saying he wants to get sacked for sure. He realizes the whole club is completely sham. They ask him to build the Khalifa with bamboo. Our squad is too thin and players that leave for international duty or injury and we're crippled. We have zero depth. I'm indifferent if he is the manager. Yeah. Then the conversation TK will go to, but Wolves are the worst team in Premier League history. So you're telling me 2 players go to AFCON and 1 player being injured means we can't beat Wolves? Like, TK, there was a way to beat Wolves with the players that we had. The manager just couldn't find a way. So the ones where it's like, yes, if we had the players back and all these things, of course, that's just like saying if you had water, would you be less thirsty? Yeah, I would be less thirsty because I'd have water. Like, if we had better players, of course we would play better. But then the conversation would then go back to, even with the players that we have, shouldn't we have done better? The manager could have found a way, but he didn't find a way. He didn't find a way, and it's his job to find a way to put out the players in a specific way, formation, system to find a way to beat Wolves. And we scored the first goal. And still, when it came to trying to win the game, he took Xerxes off, and Xerxes, we're going to talk about it. He took an attacker off to put a midfielder on. When I told you about how he thinks you can play better attacking football by flooding your team with defensive players, he actually thinks that's a thing. He actually, in his brain, thinks that is a thing. And that's why I say this manager, in my opinion, before we get into it, I don't see eye to eye in terms of the way we see football fundamentally. He's a very negative manager in his approach to football. He believes defending and having more defenders makes you better attacking. He actually believes that is a thing. And that is so anti-Manchester United, so anti-Ferguson. in his just philosophy, in his ethos, his core. It's crazy to me. Anyway, let's get into the quotes. This is what he was saying after the game. He spoke on absences. So some of us have spoken about absences and used that as a reason or explanation for why we couldn't perform against Wolves. And while that is a factor for sure, not having the players that your best players, of course, that is a factor. You have to take that into consideration. But I don't know. He goes on to say, I'm not going to use the absences as an excuse, but for sure, if you look at the match, I understand the lack of fluidity of 1v1 situations. The thing about 1v1 situations and 1v1 is that you don't actually need to play that kind of football, that sort of confrontational football. You can just play the ball around this team. I mean, in terms of when you don't have the ball, yeah, it's very, very wise, very, very good to win your 1v1 duels. But you can also lose most of your 1v1 duels and set up in a way to hunt the ball down, to win possession of the ball by pressing really well. You can stand off the player and wait for the player to receive the ball, i.e. you lose your duel, but you still play in a way that you pounce on him as soon as he gets the ball. There's so many different ways of playing football. I feel like when you do this whole 1v1, make sure you beat your man and make sure you're close with every man against teams like Wolves. I feel like sometimes you play into their game. You know, when TK in the chat says things like we play to their level, I think we sometimes play to their level because we're trying to match them. We're trying to do this 1v1 duel thing. And sometimes I'm like, listen, sometimes let's not do 1v1 duels. And yes, we still, okay, not do it. You know what I mean? Yes, we still have to try to win your 1v1 duels, but let's focus actually on just playing ball and playing around them. How about that? How about we don't even think about Wolves for a second and we just play good football or just play our ball? I don't know. There's so many ways you can think about it. But I'm glad anyway that he's not used the absences, as he said out of his own mouth, to justify anything. Even though we have to take that into account, guys. I hear you guys. Big up AP in the chat as well. I hear you, and Ivan. Big up Ivan. I hear you guys about the absences. And, you know, it's still going to be a factor in people's arguments. It will be. And it should be. But how much of it is a factor, I don't know. Because the question then will move to, well, you know, if you've got 100 and I've got, you know, army soldiers and I've got 5 army soldiers and you lose 20, you should still beat me with your 80. Like, you're still better. You losing a few, you're still better than me. That will be the conversation, right? That'll be the next discussion. Anyway, let's move on. Next tweet. What's the man just saying? That's absences. Let me know what you're saying about absences and how the absences are affecting us and how important you think that is with regards to the explanation of how badly we played against Wolves. Okay, he then spoke about just struggling the whole game. And we saw the game, guys. The game was a terrible game. In moments, I said, okay. When I saw us move the ball, when I saw us put our foot on the ball, in moments, I was like, okay, this is all right. But overall, guys, can we admit that the game was a poor game? We struggled to, you guys said it in the chat, we struggled to move the ball quickly. Like, everyone was taking 3-4 touches. It was so stiff. It lacked fluidity. And it was a stark contrast to, I believe, was it the Aston Villa game where we started more in a 4-4-2, sort of 4-3-3 formation in that game, and we looked so fluid. It was one of the fluidest, best we looked the first 20 minutes anyway, and everyone was purring. And then we go back to his 3-4-2-1 system, and we look the most rigid that we've looked for a while. And I feel like this manager. He goes on to say that we struggled for the whole game. We had a lack of creativity, but we knew that it would be a different game compared to Newcastle. We had a different energy during the game also. If you look at the game, we had our chances, but the fluidity wasn't there because there is a lack of connections. Lack of connections between the players. They don't know each other. That's why the fluidity wasn't there. If I was Amorim, and I know I saw a lot of YouTubers, I saw a lot of, I saw Flex from United View, and these guys all say this. Why didn't he just keep the team? I know Mason Mount's injured, so Mason Mount is the only change you need to make. But why didn't he just keep the same team that played against Villa? I don't know. I don't really think he needed to make the changes he made. Maybe change Mason Mount to Xerxes. And that's it. Anyway, let's go on. Let me know. I think you guys have made it clear how you thought the game went. But let me know, guys, how the game went in your opinion. Do you agree with the manager just then? Let me know where your head is at as well, man. Where's your head right now when it comes to this manager? Ivan says he won't use absences as an excuse, but proceeds to use absences as an excuse. Yeah, Ivan. The one thing I know about this manager is his way of speaking and communicating is very interesting. And there's one thing I know about the fan base, especially some of the people who are still backing him. Not all of them, maybe not even most of them. Just some of them. They like how he looks. They like how he sounds. They're always praising his press conferences. I love his press conference. I love this manager. I'm going to follow this manager to this. I see the comment section of the Man United YouTube, and it's like, whoa, some of these guys they're in love with this guy. Literally. But anyway, we digress. We move on. Ruben Amorim lacking depth. So some of you guys in the chat have spoke about depth. So I feel like Amorim right now is gonna speak on all of these things. All of the things that you guys were talking about in the chat, he's now gonna speak on all of it. So now this is him on lacking depth in the squad. We are in one situation where there is a lot of players out at the same time. We just need to recover our players. The players from AFCON to return, and then the fluidity is going to be different. I mean, that's just true, I think. That's just true. But then the question I have to ask you guys, and this is where we have to think of for a second. Were we good? Were we playing that well in the last few games with Ahmad and Brandon Bimo? No. Our form before those guys left wasn't great. We weren't playing good, and we haven't been good this season, really, with those players, with our strongest team. So when someone says something like this to you, you have to acknowledge that it is true that we are going to be better with those players added. Of course, we are going to be better, but how fluid? How much better? Because we've all watched this season, guys. We've all watched it with those players. And while we are better with them, can we get more? Can we get more? Can he get more? Can he get more, guys, out of this team? Some of you will say the players are not good enough. Some of you will say, no, they are. He just needs to change his system. Some of you, like I am a firm believer in the system makes a lot of players look good. System will make or break a player. Make or break a player. You are a right winger, and the manager has come in and says, I don't play with wingers. You're done. You are absolutely, unless you can adapt the way you play, you're probably done. Right? So I know that this system is right now breaking Kobe. If we change it to a 4-3-3, Kobe will play more games. Systems can make or break players. I think we have to understand that. Therefore, we know that this manager could do something different that benefits more of his players, and therefore the outcome could be better. We know that is a possibility. And we've maybe seen it for 20 minutes against Villa or against Newcastle. But we know there's a possibility. But he just won't do it. That is a problem to a lot of Man United fans. Let's read on. Let's move on, people. The camera has gone funny, but you can still hear me. I'm turned into a blurred Pokemon card. All right. So apparently, guys, you can still hear me. So I'm just gonna continue. I should be back in a few moments. We're just gonna fix this thing. Um. So that's it. So we spoke about absences, the point on absences, the team struggling in general. He spoke on lacking depth. He's spoken on, of course, getting the players back, which is just normal. Getting your best players back, you're going to play better, and things should improve. So I think we can all understand that. He then spoke on the bad home form. Our home form, I never even realized. Of course, we lost at home. We lost at home against Everton, didn't we? Lost at home against Everton. Um, there we go. We're trying to fix this camera. Lost at home against. Um, we drew, of course, against Wolves. We lost recently at home. Yeah, our home form is a bit smelly. It's a bit smelly. So he spoke on our home form. Mm. Well, we can go back to that. I think against Everton we clearly underperformed. So yeah, I mentioned Everton. West Ham we had some lack of creation, but we had our chances. I feel like we are dominant at home. Today we had a lack of quality, fluidity in the game. My gosh, why couldn't I get that word out of my damn mouth? Bumba Clark. Anyway, this what comes to mind when I think about our home form and what we lack when we play at home, and when I think about the fact that when we have less of the ball we tend to win games, and when we have more of the ball we tend to lose games. Therefore we are more of a transition team, a team that plays on a break. We are therefore a team that relies more on open spaces and spaces in behind. Brian and Bumo, all these sort of players benefit on that. So it makes sense to me that our home form, where we're supposed to dominate possession and dominate the ball, it therefore makes sense that our home form isn't as great as it should be based on what I know, what I've just said, the stats and everything else. So that makes sense as well. I mean um the other tweet really was about him talking about the players that are coming back and the players that we are missing, and he spoke about, Bruno and Kobe Mainu. What else did he say? Yeah. So he's essentially saying when you put on Casemiro and Ugarte, it's different. It's different. They're different pairing. They've got the different characteristics to Kobe Mainoo, Mason Mount, and Bruno. And we spoke about that. I spoke about that in the chat. We're not going to get certain forward passes. We're not going to get certain creativity that we would normally get. We are going to get a workhorse midfield that will work, run, cover the space, maybe make us more robust. But going forward, yeah, they're not going to be the best. So once again, he was asked, about the players, and he's just saying we need to get our players back. We clearly miss some players who would have helped us win the game. So yeah, I got nothing else to say about that really. If you guys are having a conversation about that in a chat or not, I don't know, but I think we can move on to what else did he say, people. So he was then asked, guys, about bringing on the young people, bringing on the youth, the academy. He's now been asked about the academy a lot. We're now noticing he's using academy players more, partially because he has to. There are lack of players. He has injuries. And I also think partially because of his rhetoric about the young players before. He has backtracked so much when it comes to young players. He's not said anything bad really about them since. So that's good. That's what he needs to be. So he's asked about them, and he said, when there are new players in different positions and you bring in a youngster, he'll struggle. Good. I'm glad he identifies that. Let's understand that for 1 second. He's saying when we are already playing players out of position and new players playing in certain positions who are part of the senior squad, then bringing in a young player right now, they're going to struggle. So I'm glad that he's protected the young player, because let's be totally honest, guys. Fletcher isn't ready and he shouldn't be in the first team squad. In my humble opinion, neither is Motata Tomato. I'm joking, I'm playing. Neither is Motata. They're kids. They're not ready. So I do not really like any negative talk about these guys that shouldn't really be there in the first place. They should be still on the 21s, on the 23s playing football. So I don't really want us to blame anything on the kids that are thrown in a position that they're not prepped for, they're not ready. So I'm glad that he's saying, listen, once this is the context and I brought them on in this context, so yeah, they're going to struggle. Good manager. Well done. I like that, guys. So you have to give credit where credit is due, people. It's different from when you have a solid foundation. Everything flows smoothly and you can give young players minutes. There you go. He understands. He understands. When you have a solid foundation, you can put on a player for 15 minutes. You can put on a Cristiano Ronaldo on the left-hand side for 20 minutes because you're already winning 2-0, because you're Manchester United and Ryan Giggs has already gotten 2 assists. You can do that. You can nurture young players when you've got the foundation. Right now, it's hard. It's hard. People want Lenny Euro to be sold. He's only 19 because he's having the bad time. No, it happens. It's going to happen. He's going to have bad periods. You just got to look beyond, past a bad period and look at the talent. And if you've got faith in the talent, then continue having faith in the talent until it shows you no more. Let's move on, people. Yes, this is the one. Ruben Amorim on subbing off Joshua Zirkzee. This is the question that everybody wanted to understand. He was our goal scorer. He scored 2 goals now in 3 games, right? He scored that volley against Crystal Palace. When he starts, he scores. He started against. Did he start? Yeah, he scored that volley, and he scored today. And there's a stat going around actually that in less time, less games, he's got either the same or better GA than Sesko. It's just interesting how feelings and facts are always collide. And everybody wanted to know, including myself, was Zirkzee injured? We want to play attacking football. We want to score goals. You have Zirkzee who's just scored and he's getting into the game. He was starting to drop deep. He was starting to flick the ball. He was starting to connect with others. And I was like, okay, I know Wolves still scored and we weren't playing that great. But subbing off Zirkzee is what you do, and you bring on a midfielder. I think that confused the hell out of everybody, even people who were backing the manager and continue to back the manager. I think they were like, what? So this is what he said, guys. This is what he said. We were struggling with their midfielders, and sometimes you can attack better with less strikers. That is objectively correct. You know the ones where it's like, listen, he said sometimes you can attack better with less strikers. Sometimes you can. Yeah, there are times where if you flood the midfield, you will have more control of the game and therefore you will attack better. So I understand that logic. He's smart when he says sometimes, because usually that's not the case. And I wouldn't say most of the time either. Man United will demonstrate when we just threw strikers on. Yeah, sometimes you put your strikers on, you will score goals. I'm telling you. But then he goes on to say this though, and this is, we played with 3 strikers. So he's counting Cunha as a striker, which is interesting. Sometimes that's not the best thing to attack well. But he started this team. So he's therefore saying what he did, his setup, his general um the way he established the team, his approach was incorrect. He's now saying that was incorrect for him to do so. Right? But my thing is this, and I want you guys to, I'm just exploring, guys. My thing is this now. If you want to shore up the midfield, which is clearly what he's trying to say, right? We had less control of the ball in midfield, i.e., the two tens, Cunha, Mount, whatever, are supposed to kind of drop deep and make that box midfield with the two double pivots players, right? And shore it up, and that Mason Mount did. Zaxi and Cunha might not be doing that enough, right? But Zaxi was also trying to link. Why couldn't the manager take off one of the defenders? We play with three. This is my issue with this system. He'd rather to shore up the midfield rather than taking off one of our extra defenders because we play five. So he could take off one of them and play with four and put an extra man in midfield. So he could play four at the back, put an extra man in midfield and keep Xerxes on. So rather than taking away, because we need to attack. This is Man United. Attack, attack, attack. This is how it's important to understand the psychology and the philosophy of the human being. We've heard him speak enough to now, and we've seen him play football to understand his brain. He would rather take off Xerxes and add another midfielder in an attacking position, yeah, to get greater control of the game so we can attack better, but we have less quality now going forward. He'd rather do that than taking off one of the five defenders and just added an extra midfielder. Three in midfield, four at the back, boom. This is one of the reasons what, guys, and I hope I've explained it well. This is one of the reasons why I have an issue fully backing this manager, because what I've just described, I see it so clearly that I don't understand why he's still here. Sometimes I think it's borderline insanity, some of the things he does. Literally, it's like beyond logic. But a lot of the times, guys, for the purpose of the channel, I will not speak as I will not go in as hard on the manager as I can do. I know I can be a lot stronger with my words, but I know there's a lot of people who are still Amorim in, and I have to also respect other people's opinions while also giving mine, and also understanding that my opinion is so strong that it can overpower. I'm the only one with a microphone. So I also need to understand why people are also Amorim in, so I understand their perspective too. I do. I just have mine, and that's it. I just don't understand his way of seeing this situation. I would have kept Xerxes on and just showed up the midfield and removed one of the defenders. Take off maybe not Mark. Take off one of the defenders. Put two at the back. Put Dorgu and Dalu. And I don't know why I did that. But anyway, put Dorgu and Dallo as fullbacks, and then put on Ferguson, and then shore up your midfield that way and play. Listen, there's so many things he could have done. Anyway, big up the chat. Big up TK. TK. I hope the chat is popping. Make sure you guys are obviously respectful and all these things. Big up the chat. AP, Niche Fan, TK's up in the building. I see Shivam. Big up Shivizzle. Happy New Year, Shivam. Oh yeah, you're already in the new Shivam. You're in the future, Shivam. You are the future. Shivam's already in the new year celebrating. How long we got? What? Oh, we got 4 hours. Oh shit, man! What the hell? I haven't even smoked. Where am I? And that's next question. What time is it? Where am I? You guys are talking about what manager you'd get. Mm, big up TK. I've seen that message, bro. Big up, bro. Sorry, I'll just do my usual ranting, bro. Sorry. I went to be cool to show. Yeah, sub this channel in the summer. Big up TK and shined in every stream. I look forward to more of this. I just want more Man United. I just want us to be a better team, guys. I don't know. That's one thing that we all have in common. We can disagree in so many things, yeah. We can have conversations about so many things, new manager, new players, formations, all these things. We can talk deep, 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 whatever. But we all want this to come to an end, bro. This is just Man United. If Man United was somebody, you just shake them. Shake his fix up. This powder, you know, to get a powder, baby powder in that hand. Just get that baby powder, just go slap the. That's what you do. If Man United was a person, you baby powder that hand up and you just go. What the, you would, you do it. You might even kick them down the stairs. Sorry, you would. You might do it. If Man United was a person. Mission Mission Amorim possible. That's silly. All right. All right, guys. Subbing off Xerxes. So if you got, I hope you guys are satisfied with his response and why he subbed off the goal scorer. Because I'm not. I'm not satisfied with that response, guys. But we move on. We can't talk about the same thing all show. He now starts talking about this balance in the midfield thing. So off the back of that, he goes on to say they Wolves had a lot of players in midfield. Can I stop? And he says stop. Can I say something? He purposely chooses a system that has two men in midfield. And now he's speaking about Wolves, the worst team in Premier League history, having more people in midfield than us. Like he didn't think, oh, it hurts my brain. The mental gymnastics, yeah, and the lack of logic, yeah, logical like pattern you have to follow to follow Amrim. It's like because I'm so consistent, I see these gaps in logic, and I'm like, what? So you this is the worst team in the league. So forget. I mean, like Crystal Palace play with the system, and they probably beat Wolves. So that's whatever. But you're now highlighting the fact that they play with more midfielders than you. Most every team plays with more midfielders than us. What we doing here? Anyway, sorry. Professional. Let me do this professionally. They had a lot of players in midfield. We did what we needed to do because we were struggling. With Jack Fletcher, we regained our balance. We won the ball back more quickly in the second half. I don't look at age or experience. I look at what I can do to win. I disagree. I don't remember us having many chances in the second half. I feel like we had more chances in the first half. Even though we weren't good in the first half, I feel like the second half went by and nothing happened. And what is balance? You know when the manager says balance, then there will be balance. That's Team America, you know. Team America is funny. I don't care. Then there will be balance. But what does balance mean to this manager? We gain our balance. I don't know, guys. I don't think Jack Fletcher had a great game when he came on. But I'm still go on, protect him, talk him up. But he didn't. I don't think he had a great game. I don't think so, guys. What do you think? What do you think about Jack Fletcher's performance? What do you guys think about him bringing on Jack Fletcher for Xerxes and what he's trying to achieve here with the balance? Could he have achieved that balance? That then there will be balance, or it could be Star Wars actually. You will bring balance to the Force. Bring there. You are supposed to bring balance to the Force. Anakin Skywalker. Anyway, What's balance? Like, could he have gained more balance by taking off one of the five defenders and bringing on Fletcher? That's all I'm saying. I'm just asking questions to the chat. Big up RD United TV. Happy New Year. Big up RD United TV, another United channel. Big up. Thanks for passing through, man. Thanks for passing through. Happy New Year to everybody. We're not there yet here, but if it's, New Year where you are, Happy New Year. Do not let Man United get your blood pressure too high. Look after yourself this year. This year will be the year that Man United don't get my blood pressure high. This is the year of Zen. Can this be the year of Zen? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. What else are we saying? The year of peace. The year of peace of mind, guys. That Man United will do something and it will just be glorious, like Bobby Roode. Glorious. I will defend, I wanna end, and I'm victorious. Bro, no one can tell me that Bobby Roode's entrance isn't legendary, bro. Glorious. Ah, man. Yeah, to be fair, I did say niche fan and anyone else who's, talking about it, that I don't think that these youngsters are not ready, guys. I don't think they're ready. He shouldn't be even on the bench. And I've looked at Fletcher and see how he's played. I'm like, these guys are playing very immaturely. They're not ready. Do you know how? Listen, Lenny Euro at 18 and how he was playing last season compared to these guys at 17, like, it's different. Lenny Euro is the same age almost as these guys, maybe a year older, but he plays like a grown-ass man with that maturity. These guys are too young. Not too young. It's not about age, but they're just not ready, I don't think. Yeah, the heaven sub is crazy. It's the defensive subs. I've always believed, guys, and I still firmly believe this, and he must also know this, that your foundation is essential. Ferguson, every manager will tell you about the defense and how your defensive structure is so important. It's your base. It's your base that everything is built on. Stop switching and changing it and chopping and changing that. The understanding between your defenders, they need to keep talking to each other. They need to know when to push the line up, when to push the line back, when to be tight, when all these things. The cohesion and the chemistry between your back line, I think actually has to be better than the cohesion in the front line. I think chaos in the front line is more necessary than chaos in the back. Like, there's no chaos in the back line is deadly. You're going to concede goals. Chaos in the front line, not knowing when, having a bit of chaos in the front, unpredictability in the front. Yeah, you need cohesion in the front line. You need to know when your right forward is going to come deep. You need cohesion, yes, but you also need unpredictability, a little bit of chaos. Your back line is where you do not need that chaos. You need the most amount of consistency. Yeah. You stop, please, Amorim. I beg of you, please stop. If you don't have to, there might be a really good reason. Stop chopping up and changing up your back line after 60 minutes in every game, bro. We concede every game. Every game without fail, we concede. We have a rubbish defense. So I just don't know if it's working. I don't know if it's working. That's all I'm saying, guys. I'm just putting it out there. I just don't know, people. TK says we just need a stream where Wiz just sings and hums tunes. I have a few requests. Bring it on, man. Bring it on. Big up RD United. Stay zen. Yo, big up, bro. Yo, love and respect for jumping in, man. I appreciate. Yeah. This manager, it hurts my head. It hurts my head. But can I just say, for the people who are still supporting this manager, I will still say this because just because I'm going on at the manager right now, it does not mean I believe these players are perfect. I'm telling you, yeah, the players that we have are still not good enough. I understand that too. Ugarte and Casemiro, I understand those limitations. I really do. I understand Xerxes' lack of pace. I really, really do. I understand Cunha's selfish. I really, really do. I understand Dorgu's lack of output sometimes. I really, really do. I understand Shaw's lack of conviction. I really, really do. Lenny Euro's lack of aggression. Yep. Martinez's lack of height. Yep. I understand Bruno's lack of defensive discipline. Yep. Casemiro's lack of speed. Yep. Ugarte's lack of football playing ability. Even though man's been doing some pirouettes, man's been doing some step overs. I've seen man been doing some things over the last few days. So I get, I see where guys are like, listen, the players are not good enough, but should the manager be getting more out of them? Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's most of Amorim's quotes. That's balancing the midfield. He's looking at Leeds now. When's Leeds? Leeds are on Sunday, so we are Wednesday now. So we got time, guys. We got time before the Leeds game, so we can do our Friday show as well. Our Friday show before the Leeds game, which will be the pre-match conversation about what we're gonna see and whatnot. Oh, what are we gonna see, people, against Leeds? Are Leeds gonna beat us, people? Are Leeds gonna? Because the way I see it is, Leeds are we're away from home against Leeds. I believe, and Wolves could have beaten us. Wolves gave us a decent game at Old Trafford. Are we still not going to see Bruno? So look, he says here, I'm really confident that when we recover all the players, we are going to be a strong team. There is no doubt in my mind. I don't know if anyone will be back for Leeds. I'm not going to risk anyone to lose them for 1 or 2 months. So I know it's 4 games away, but it's likely, it seems here, that no one will be back for Leeds, guys. So the same players will be available, which means he's going to have to put out the same team or just do something different. Those are the only 2 options, right? What's the definition of insanity? What do they say, guys? I don't agree with this definition, by the way. It's weird. But what did they say? Doing doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same results. Yeah, that sounds like stubbornness, but it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Money, guys. Can we get Can we upgrade the players that we have quick enough? You know, when I think about creating a new team, I'm always like, are we going to create the team quick enough before the original set of players that we bought get old? You know, when you're buying a set of like cards and you bought the 2001 set and then 10 years later you're like, cool, have you been buying all the sets to keep up? It's like if you buy a player in this this rebuild and this player is 27 and that's his prime, and by the time the player is 32, that's when you get the final piece. You get the final piece of the jigsaw when that player, the first player you bought as part of the rebuild, gets out of his prime. Then you got to replace him. So it's like, in order to rebuild, you need to get a lot of players around the same time in order for them to grow together, to build together, in order for them to kind of arrive at their peak together. One of the reasons why Fergie was so successful is because he was lucky in a way. To have the class of 92 who are a core group of players similar to some of the ages. You know, he then bought a Roy Keane as well, similar ages. He had a core group of players who are all around the same age that could grow together, mature together, and that's half his team. So all he had to do was then get a little striker here, get a left back here, get someone else here around the same age. Boom. So When we're even talking about getting players and rebuilding and selling and buying players, we've got to do it quickly. If we spend 5, 6 years doing rebuild, it's not a rebuild. It's just you buying players. It's not actually a rebuild. It's not. How can it be a rebuild? Like, are the players we're buying today still part of Bruno's rebuild? When we bought Bruno and we promised Bruno a rebuild, are the players we're buying today part of his rebuild? No, of course not. That's like 5, 6 years on. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go. Before I start ranting on, guys, before I start ranting a bit more, let's bring some order. Order! Order! All right, this is Lisandro Martinez just quickly speaking to Sky Sports, saying that he's really disappointed. We can't come here at home and draw this game. We have to win when we play at home. The opponent has to suffer. We have to get the 3 points. That's exactly what I was saying. What I was saying was just we have to. There's no ifs, there's no buts. We just have to win this game. We have to get the 3 points at any. Just do it. Just win. I don't care if you're gonna play ugly, but just win. He says it's very frustrating. The team gave everything, and just for a few moments, we conceded in the last moment of the first half. That can happen. We can deserve that. It's our responsibility. He says we played well with the ball in the first half, but then we dropped too much, couldn't press their centre backs. They were comfortable with the ball. Yeah, Wolves were very comfortable with the ball. And they started moving around and creating spaces. Wolves don't deserve the place they are in. They're a strong team, and we respect that. The lads are very disappointed, but we expect better, and we have to take it and accept it and move on. Cool. I thought I'd just read that. You know, Martinez he's a fighter. He's a warrior. He's somebody that I imagine don't take losing very well, just by his general character on the field and how he is. Um, I wouldn't. I can see him being a future main United captain. Maybe not my choice, not my first choice, but at least I can see. I can see it. I can see it. So that's Martinez. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on Martinez's quotes there about the game. Any agreements, disagreements, contradictions. Um, yeah, anything. All right, let's move on. Gary Neville. Let's finish on this. Also, guys, if you guys have any thoughts on just people like Gary Neville, whether it's negative or positive, just giving their opinions after the game. I mean, he is a pundit. He's paid to do this job. He is literally paid to give his opinion. So he's just doing his job in a way. But no, if you got any opinions on their role, maybe something deeper, maybe their role in the reconstruction or maybe the deconstruction of Manchester United as you see it today. Um, but yeah, this is Gary Neville. We're not going to play it, guys, but this is Gary Neville essentially saying that he wasn't right for him to sub off Zaxi. It just wasn't. And I agree with Gary Neville. I don't think it was right. He's given his reason, you know, he's given his reason, and Amorim has given his reason. We've seen Amorim's reason, but it just doesn't, it's not convincing to me, guys. And it's clearly not convincing to you guys. Gary Neville says this. And like I said, I know some of you guys would be like, I don't care what Gary Neville says. He's inconsistent. And in all of these, listen, he is. He does talk a lot of crap. He does. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was manager, he didn't say certain things because Ole was his friend. So, like I said, it's up to you guys. It's up to you personally how much you even care about Gary Neville. I'll leave it up to you. But he says this. When I see that we go back to 3 at the back after 5 minutes tonight, and I'm thinking, no, Ruben, why have you done that? The manager has to look at that and think, I got that wrong. I complicated it. I don't. Because at one breath, yeah, he did say about players coming in and not knowing the system and new players and all these things. You'd think, yeah, if he took Manchester United seriously, he took his job seriously and wanted to win, he would do the best thing to win the game, not the best thing to maintain his system. He would look at the team, look at the squad, and be like, do you know what? Some of these young, especially these youngsters in the academy that I'm going to bring on, like Fletcher and Motata, these guys haven't played the system in their lives. Yeah, despite the fact they've trained. Maybe while my main players are out, I'm gonna continue trialing out the 4-3-3 that I did for 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever against Aston Villa and Newcastle. Make it simple for everybody and get the best out of them. But no, his system and his way above everything. Above everything. So, like I said, guys, unfortunately, this is going to be a bit heavy on the manager. A bit heavy on the manager. And because I have been, and this show has been a bit heavy on the manager, we're gonna we're gonna end with one or two bit of transfer news because we are now going into January. We are one day away, and technically speaking, we can now make signings. We can make signings. So here is just one or two bits of transfer news for you guys to mull over. Like I said, I do not believe we are going to do anything. I don't believe we're going to spend no £50 million, £60 million in January to get. I just can't see it. But Man United, I would be very, very happy if you would surprise me. Do not meet my expectations this time, Man United. Anyway, here's some news for anyone who wants to be happy. This journalist is actually quite rated, so it's not coming out of anyone's arse. And it's just come out in the last 5-6 hours. Manchester United are considering a move for Crystal Palace's Jean-Philippe Mateta. The Frenchman is stalling over a new deal at Selhurst Park. I don't believe that's true, but that is news for you if you want to believe it is true. We could have bought him in the summer if we wanted to. We went and spent £75 million literally 3 months ago on Sesko. There is no way that we are going to spend another £65 million on John Philippe Mateta. That's not happening. But it's news. Someone's tweeted it. Who's respected and respectable? TK, I know you mentioned Gallagher in the chat. So here's some more transfer news from a respectable outlet. Manchester United are still thinking about Conor Gallagher and have him on their shortlist. The English club would like a loan, but Atleti would only consider an offer of at least 30 million euros. The player is happy at the club, although he would like to have a more prominent role in the team. This is actually a bit of news where I can actually see maybe a slither of truth in the loan situation. Man United aren't doing anything long term unless they make a really good judgment call. They're not going to do any snap decisions like sign this player on a 5-year deal like we did with Ugarte. No. So I can see maybe for the rest of the season a loan deal. But once again, I will believe it when I see it. Big up TK. TK says Cunha is playing like he's still a member of Wolves. Won't pass, shoot from everywhere, and try and take on the other team's defense solo. I agree. He can't play like that. He has to use his teammates. If you can't play like that, and for Man United, that's what you had to do for Wolves. Like Cunha needs to understand that. The frustrating thing about Cunha playing a bit like that is that I think Ahmad's better than Cunha. I would love to have a really good argument with somebody who thinks Cunha is a better footballer than Ahmad. I think Ahmad's a better footballer than Cunha. I honestly think so. I think the Man United players probably think so. but Ahmad passes the ball a bit more. And I think Ahmad's always passed the ball a bit more. And when Ahmad was shooting and being a bit selfish at the start of the season, everyone was getting angry. And I was like, Ahmad's not the most selfish player even on the pitch. Cunha is by far has always been. And I'd rather have someone like Ahmad be selfish who I've seen score goals for Man United than someone like Cunha who I haven't got the evidence for it. I haven't got the evidence for it. I haven't. But here's another transfer news for you guys. Some of you guys might be happy with this one. Manchester United are one of the clubs monitoring. Yep. So, not doing much, just monitoring. And always remember, guys, everybody monitors players. Everybody knows about this player. If we know about him, everybody knows about him. So we are one of the clubs monitoring Leipzig winger Jan Diomande. And I know some of you like this player. So it could be good news. Who knows? United are not guaranteed to pursue another winger after missing out on Anton Semenyo. They're not guaranteed to pursue. What do you mean we're not guaranteed to pursue? We can pursue anyone we want to pursue. What do you mean we're not guaranteed to pursue? Such a strange way of saying something. But may move for Diomande if other clubs start moving for him in the January window. So we're gonna move for him if other clubs move for him? No. One thing about Man United that we know is true: bidding wars and all these things. We don't do these things. We don't do bidding wars. We make sure you only you only have eyes for Man United. I've dreamt and for all my life I was born a Man United fan, and Man United are the only football club I ever want to play for. Yeah, those players. Anyway, there's a few more bits of transfer news. We got, of course, the Baleba situation still unreeling. Man United are not going to go in for Baleba in January. He's more of a summer signing, says Fabrizio. I'm tired of talking about Baleba. I think when it comes to Baleba, it's now you either sign him or you don't. I've said, guys, we're not going to sign anyone in January, but I am happy to do transfer shows. I know I started in the summer with transfer shows, and that's what kicked off a lot of the new followers that I have. And come January, if there's enough news, I will look into it, because I don't want to do a transfer show where I'm just looking at the transfer news and just giving you transfer news. I want to have a bit of knowledge before I do the show. So I'll do my research and I'll speak to whoever I can speak to and all of these things before I do a show. Otherwise, it's just some show where we just speculate and speculate and speculate, which is still fun. It's still fun, and I don't mind doing them if you guys want those shows. So big up everybody. It's been an hour now, just coming towards an hour. It's been a good show. It's been a bad year. But at least the community is good. Listen, Man United are crap, but what we got here is something nice. It's something decent. Yeah. A place where we can at least vent our unhappiness. And do you know what, yeah? You know the ones where people like you guys are always unhappy. Listen, when Man United start winning again, I say when, because we will, this place will be bare jokes, bare bants, bro. I know Ivan's got bants for days. Imagine a happy Ivan who's bantering all day, every day because Man United are just winning. Imagine how much more bants we'll get in the chat. They're just stupid team. It's just this stupid team, bro. Most embarrassing United moment of 2025. Yeah. Ivan, you're asking a silly. This is a crazy question. Most embarrassing moment. That's a good question, actually, for the chat. All right, for the whole chat. Anyone who's still locked in, maybe it's just me and Ivan at the moment, but the most embarrassing moment 2025. Nah, because embarrassment is about how you feel based on how society's making you feel rather than the actual worst result. I think the most embarrassing was the Tottenham. Yeah, the most embarrassing was the Champions League final because Tottenham have never won a European Cup. We were supposed to beat them. All these things, the eyes were on us. We didn't even lay a glove on Tottenham. It was just in front of the whole world. So in terms of embarrassment, yeah, that is probably the most embarrassing because so much of us thought, yeah, this is gonna be Tottenham ain't winning. They don't know how to win. They're serial bottlers. All the talk that we had, all of us had collectively before that match, to then lose it, embarrassment. But Grimsby, Grimsby, you don't lose to Grimsby, bro. Grimsby are like in League One or League Two, bro. You just don't do it. And it was at home, right? It was at Old Trafford. Was it? Was it? I can't remember if it was Old Trafford. So Grimsby is up there, bro. That might be the worst result, and it should have been the most embarrassing. I'm not saying it was, but it should have been. But it wasn't a big thing because it wasn't a final. But yeah, Grimsby was crazy to me. What's Ivan saying? But think about it, bro. What if we never win this guy? Do you know what? Yeah, yeah. Obviously, is is there a universe where Man United never win? No, every team, even the worst team, wins an odd game. But it's funny though. Imagine, what if this is who we are permanently? Oh, I'm assuming you mean never win a major trophy. Then what will happen? I mean, well, we can answer that question in so many different ways. What will happen to me personally? What will happen to United as a institution? What will happen to the fan base? I feel like if that happens, we'll just turn, because Newcastle didn't win shit for like 20 years, and even though they're back now, we'll just be like a Blackburn, like a club that has a massive stadium in the north of England. Global fan base is dying out a little bit. We'll go from having 500 million or 1 billion global fan base to having like maybe a couple 100 million in a century. It will take a lot of time for us to regress. But I don't know, bro. Like, what will you do? Will you, like, that's a good question. We don't know what it's going to be like. We don't know. You know, when you ask a hypothetical, you don't know what you're going to react like in a situation that you've never been in sometimes. Hence why it's called hypothetical, right? Would you jump ship? Would you finally be like, listen, we're a mid-table club. I'm 70 years old now. We've been mid-table like a Everton for the last 30 years. I need, like, or will you still stay like? It's crazy. There's so many ways you can think about it. But interesting question, Ivan. And I know we don't want to be here all day listening to me hypothesize. So let's wrap this up, people. Big up I Vizzle in the Bizzle. TK, Niche, Fan, Turkish always, RD United, who jumped in, everyone who jumped in and out of the conversation, jumped in and out of the chat, AP as well, who jumped in as well, said a few things. Big up everybody, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed your Christmas period, even though Man United continue to piss you off. Um, yeah, but we will keep supporting this team because we love football, man. We love football, and even if Man United didn't exist, I think most of us in this chat on this channel will continue to love football because we love the game. So big up everybody. Ivan, we don't have the foundations to make a comeback, you know. No, no. Ivan, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to scaremonger me. You're trying to scare me, Ivan. I hear you. Because what Ivan's saying is a lot of those clubs who went down and came back, they're not in crippling debt like we are. Like Man United need the fan base to finance the debt. If something drastic happens and we lose all that money that pours into the club and we can't finance the debt, something even more dangerous happens. We are almost like we're like a tornado. Like, how does it end? Like, that doesn't end, or there's no sign of it ever dissipating. Like, it gets bigger or it gets smaller, but it still goes round. That's how I feel Man United are right now. A tornado that just gets bigger and it sometimes gets really, really small, like them little mini little tornadoes, like, but it's still a tornado and it's still going to be there. Ivan says, Happy New Year to everyone except Amrim. Happy New Year to all my community, to my chat, to all my subscribers. Big up yourselves. It's been an amazing year. Listen, we're still a small channel. We are still growing. And with your help, we will still continue to grow. Yes, guys, I said we, of all of us together, we need to push next year. Hopefully, by the end of the season, guys, we can get 1,000 subscribers. We can enlarge the community. Of course, I need your help. Give me some advice. How can we make the show better? How can we improve the show? Because I know and you know, we can all agree that this has potential. We are part of something really, really nice. This is a community that likes to think deeply. I love even thinking about the smallest things. Just think a bit deeply. Think about how, think about when, think about why. And that's what I like about this community. We use our brains. I always talk about critical thinking, and every show you guys displayed to me a level of thought process about this beautiful game that we don't even need to think about this deeply. We can look at it like a sport, to 11 players against 11 players, whatever, but we choose to have community. We choose to have conversations that sometimes the conversation that we want to have are just beyond the conversations that we can have on X, Twitter, and other platforms. But here, I hope everyone is seen, everyone is heard on this channel. We might not agree, we might actually disagree on a lot of things, but hopefully there's one core thing we agree on that makes you return, makes you enjoy the community, makes you want to stay, makes you want to continue to converse. And with that, we can continue to grow the community. So we just need you guys. I need you, you need me. Barney settings, you know how it goes. Yeah, and we can grow. So big up yourselves, all of you. I'm showing you the appreciation that I know that you guys deserve. Because without you guys tuning in, there is no show, and I'm just talking to myself. And to be honest, that's what's been happening for a long time. But now you guys are here, we can converse together. Listen, we can talk about things. We can talk about how things work together. Big up everything and everyone. Big up everything, you know. Big up everything. Big up everything and everyone in the world. Happy New Year. That's my New Year message. It's easier to love than it is to hate. So do it more. Big up yourselves. Happy New Year. Let's keep it moving.